All right, guys, welcome. One of the first ones I'm doing here with this storm coming up, so we figured we'd do a little YouTube update and give you guys some insight about what's going on here with the weather out the next couple of days here. You start with our overall satellite view. As you can see, it's very active in the continental United States, especially up here in the Pacific Northwest. That's where we're going to have our storm kind of originated from. You can see the low pressure system right off the coast here is flowing around. Eventually, you can also see that we have a little bit of a ridge up here on the west coast, and then it dips down into a little bit of a trough here on the east coast. And our storm, this Clipper system, is going to follow that kind of pattern as you go throughout the next couple of days here throughout the United States. So as we and that's also prevalent here and coincides with the watches and warnings that the National Weather Service has up at the moment. A lot of storm warnings and advisories in the Northwest, and then out here in the plains, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, you have these winter storm watches that will probably become winter storm warnings over the next 36 to 48 hours or so. And then you also have a few more, advisories and warnings out here in the Appalachian states, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and eastern Ohio. But we do expect that to move eastward when we get closer to the end of the weekend by Sunday night and then into Monday. You take a look, just a general, this is just, the GFS, but just to show you how we have our storm up here in the Northwest, and it's going to follow that pattern along the ridge and then eventually redevelop here into the trough, and it really amplifies and makes its way over to the East Coast. So you can go through it quickly. You can see that follows that exact pattern, ridge, trough, that we saw on the satellite image, and also coincides with all of our watches and warnings at the moment. So we know it's coming. As you can see here, it amplifies in the Ohio River Valley, and then eventually will make its way over to the East Coast. And we're really going to talk today about snowfall forecasts and just how fickle they can be here with a storm like a Clipper system like this. So we'll just start with some model guidance here, kind of comparing just two easy ones, GFS and the NAM. The NAM is a short range model, which eventually, as of this afternoon, got out to Monday night, early Tuesday morning, so we can kind of compare those two as we go along here. But here we are looking at, one more forward. This is Monday night, 7 p.m. And you can see the storm is here off the coast of northern North Carolina or Virginia Beach. The cold air has been in place for a while, be in place all weekend, so the fact that it's cold will certainly support snow for the most of New Jersey and even further south into D.C. If I compare that to the NAM model here, I'm just going to, again, kind of fast forward and scroll through here to Monday night. This is where really we're getting to the meat of it here. Here we go, Monday night. And you can kind of compare the two models here, and they're fairly similar. If I scroll up to this one too, the low pressure system center is off the coast of Carolina. Same thing here, a little bit maybe further off, but you take a look at the snow shield. It's fairly similar. The rain snow line, again, very similar. So you have some compatibility here and some agreement in computer guidance with these two models anyway. And we'll look further into, again, precipitation amounts and exact snowfall forecast, and we'll see just how tight the gradient is going to be on this one here. So moving over to snowfall in general for the Northeast, you take a look again. We'll start with the GFS, and you can see that there's this really heavy swath of snow in southern Pennsylvania and Maryland, getting into southern New Jersey, where the snow totals will range between 10 inches or so. And then the gradient falls off pretty quickly to the north and south, into central Pennsylvania and then into Northern Virginia, and even central New Jersey. So with this particular model, the grading is pretty tight, as with all of them, but we'll see the positioning and the QPF, the actual amount of snow will vary a little bit. So we compare that to the NAM model, which is the other model we saw on the forecast models I just showed a little while ago, and you can see that the swath of snow is much smaller compared to the GFS. This has it going out a little bit further north and south. This is really just confined to, let's change that up. There we go. That's comparable. And the locations of them are somewhat similar. The GFS has a little bit of a wider swath of heavier snow, where the NAM model is a bit more narrow, and it starts to trend a little bit to the south here as you get into the New Jersey region. But you're still looking at a decent amount of snow for southern New Jersey, northern Maryland, and extreme southern Pennsylvania. So as we go on, we'll take a look at some other model guidance here. Here's the Euro. At the same time frame, we're looking at 7 p.m. Monday night. And again, this brings it even further south. So this model is trended south. Every mile run over the last 24 hours, bringing that huge swath of snow further south into central Virginia, the eastern shore of Maryland, Delaware. We're talking moving it further south out of the Baltimore and D.C. area. So you can go ahead and compare the Euro to the NAM. You can see just how far south it brings it, how different that is, and again how tight the grading it is. Compare the Euro to the GFS, and you have the same idea, where in southern New Jersey here you're talking about 8 to 10 inches of snow, possibly a foot, and then with the Euro model it brings it down to 3 to 6 inches. So it's a big difference, a very significant difference here in terms of the track and how much snow you're going to get at any given location. You take a look at the Canadian model, and that also has it to the south, not as much as the Euro, but you have the NAM versus the Canadian, and you can see again how it brings that swath of snow down into central Maryland. DC and Baltimore looks like you're still in the target zone here with the Canadian model, but just on the skirts of it. And then we can look at the national blended models. Again, looking at Monday night, 7 p.m. And again, it seems to be the average of all of them. However, some of each model does have a target zone of 8 to 12 inches somewhere in southern Pennsylvania, northern Maryland, central Virginia. So we're going to see where that target zone lines up as we come forward from here. But again, just to show you how fickle it could be, we're 72 hours away from the event, and there's still a pretty large gap of agreement. So we expect things to change clearly with every model run. And you can even go back and take a look to see how it has evolved over time. So the last model run in the Euro had it even further south, and then you can just see how it's evolved over the last 24 hours. The Euro did have a little bit further northern track, and then the latest run brings it well to the south. So we're going to have to see where this target zone lines up, and where it kind of it takes aim. Regardless, the temperatures are clearly cold enough to support snow, as I mentioned before. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this and see what the latest model guidance brings to keep you guys posted. But definitely in the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, expect a significant amount of snow, a pretty decent Clipper event as we're coming through here, and just all depends on where it lines up. So stay posted, subscribe below, and I'll catch you guys soon.